Hello. As you can tell, I made a presentation on my computer and I uploaded all the pictures there. And this is how I will be recording my lab because this is what I have available to me. So, Balloon Lab by McKenna Blay. Introduction. This lab is meant to give three-dimensional models so that students can grasp the idea of molecular geometry better. This is done as students should be able to view and manipulate models easier. Discoveries I've made during this lab. I'm horrible at blowing up balloons. I'm even worse at tying balloons. I only have notebook tape, like the pretty stuff meant for looks. Notebook tape does not stick well to balloons. I suck at reading molecular geometry images, if there is not a key. All of that to say that this lab went badly, and I apologize for what you were about to witness. I really tried for some areas. There are drawings instead of balloons, because after 30 minutes or more for one type, they still wouldn't stay together enough to pick them up and show. It took a very long time. I got it all the way there. I picked it up. It fell apart before I could even take a picture. So now there are drawings instead attached to the images. So like half images. You're in for a ride. Okay, linear. Also my ID is included, so you knew that I did this and all of the bad work here was done by myself and myself alone. Linear. Woo! Linear. This is what it is. They meet in the center and they go out. Fantastic. Triagonal planar. They sit in a triangle shape. Fantastic. You can see the tape curling. It was not a fun time. But my screenshotting of the images did cut off the X, but there's supposed to be an X right there. An X and an X. And they're not 120 degrees perfectly, but I tried my best. Bent. Imagine this is 120 degrees and the rest is not. It's fine. This is different than this. This went worse, somehow. But I did it myself. Bent or angular. Tetrahedral. It looks nice from above, so that's how the picture was taken. Tetrahedral. There's an X up there, I promise. About 109 degrees up, I quite literally took the bent or angular and placed a balloon on top because it would not stay together. So, tetrahedral. The reason this is in images and not recorded is because that would have taken over an hour, and neither of us want to be here that long. Tetrahedral. Triagonal pyramid. I tried to make it different by placing the balloon in a different area and also photographing from above. I do not understand the difference between triagonal pyramid and tetrahedral. But there is one, I think. This is from something else. Ignore that. That's not part of this. Triagonal pyramid. Assuming that the balloon goes on there, on the other ones, and that there's about 109 in between here instead of in between here. I can understand the difference graphically, just not in balloon. Balloons don't like me. It's been a long fight. Bent or angular. They're bent. These are supposed to be closer. These are supposed to be farther apart. I do recognize that these are supposed to be slightly farther apart. Again, the balloons did not like me. But I did this myself. Not so bad, you know? Not a horrible comparison. Oh, what's happening? I broke my computer. This is definitely bigger on here than the image that I have. But I was trying to go for this over 109 right here. So, okay. Why must you break? So this, as a caption, should have one more balloon underneath. But it fell apart, so this is a picture of the tetrahedral, which I understand it is not a tetrahedral. So I drew this questionable image where one on top, one on bottom, three going around it. And it should be, like, up and suspended. That just would not work. Triagonal bipyramidal. So these ones would be up. This would be more in the back, this would be more to the side, this would be more to the side. There's 120 degrees between each of the side ones, and assumingly 90 degrees between the top and the bottom. Just falling like that. But again, That did not translate to my best efforts. Kind of in the image. Kind of in the image. Because I was trying to get the look that they were kind of behind. But definitely not exactly here. Seesaw! This is where I got completely lost. I understand that there's supposed to be like a 120 degree difference over here and 90 degrees between here. I do not understand how that happens. The arrows on this one were not clear to me. I did not understand completely. I assume, I'm not even sure if this guy's supposed to be here, or if this is just supposed to go like a seesaw, so, you know, like bend back and forth kind of idea. But I did not quite understand making that in balloons. But, seesaw, see? 120 degrees-ish, and 90 degrees-ish, but I thought 120 was for this whole line, and 90 degrees was for one of these, which is what I tried to explain here. But questionable. And this is where the lack of key got me mixed up, because these two dots, I was not certain if they were supposed to be represented in balloon or not, based off of previous ones. I felt like this should be more in the back, and this should be more in the front side. I, again, did not know how to explain that, or, you know, make a model that would stay together in air, so, woo! This is the T shape. This also had me confused. There was a 90 degree representation over here. Based off of this image, I am assuming that means it was supposed to be, this was flat, side, 90 degrees up. But that makes me confused on how this is different from the triagonal bipyramidal, unless these two are non-existent and it only should have shown these three. But again, confused on what to be shown and what to not be shown, because the lines mean like in the back and this means to the front, but what do the dots mean? So I apologize. I realized afterwards I should have made different colors to represent the dots and the lines, but blowing up these balloons took me over an hour and a half, and I only created 7 balloons in that time. I did not have time to go back and fix my mistakes. It was a lot of struggle with these balloons, just for 7. It was hard. Linear. 180 degrees between these. Fantastic. Yeah, again, confused by dots. Have an idea, kind of concerned. I'm assuming suspended in air. These might be invisible. I'm not sure if they're invisible. Linear. Octahedral. So I understand that there should be one on top, one on bottom. Here's the one on top. Ooh, that was bad. Here's the one on top. These 4 will be on the outside of it, likely separated by 90 degrees. And it'll be like a 90 degree different from this to this. Chill. The tape would not stay. So we have a pile of balloons on floor instead. And a lovely little image. Octahedral. Again, like the 2 on top, the 2 in the back, the 2 in the front. 9 degrees up. Perfect. And then we have my computer is falling. Then we have the square pyramidal. That is a 90. I do apologize. And that is also a 90. This had me confused. I felt like it should be a pyramid of squares, which would then kind of look like the octahedral. But I was confused, so it's flat. I feel like this would be like maybe invisible / not apparent. So like these 4 would be the ones shown. And this one would be on top. But then wouldn't that go back to some of the other ones? Square planar. I made a square. I felt it should be obvious. I truly went with it. I made a square. If it's not a square, like it said square planar. Square on one flat plane. 90 degrees in between. T-shape number 2. There's 90 degrees here. Again, I'm assuming that like these would be invisible. That would mean these would be up and this guy would just kind of be like attached down here. Kind of like 90. It would make a weird T, I guess. I'm not exactly certain. More like 3/4 of a plus sign, but. Linear number 3. This is an arrow, I promise. Cut it in half. 180 degrees. Fantastic. I did this. Assuming that these might, in fact, be invisible. Again, just a straight line of, like, 2. Yeah! Woo! We came to the end. Thank you for suffering with me. I am so deeply sorry. I tried so hard and this one so badly. I'm sorry.